Happy nap trap day, Vic.
Happy Nap Trap Day. We're all here. We're in it together.
I know, I was just admiring your Lewis Lit coffee
Oh,
mug
yes.
from
Yes.
Suits. I'm a Harvey
Yeah.
Specter girl.
Oh, yes. Well, I do love a little Harvey Specter. Although Lewis Lipp was just so funny, wasn't he? Just
Oh,
an
he's
absolute
he's
character.
um MVP. MVP, definitely.
He really
I've
is.
got my takeaway today to fuel me. Everyone's at school holiday program. So now we can dive into all things bedtime routine.
Oh, yes. Let's get into it because it's going to be an epic episode. All the reasons why we do the things that we do. So definitely getting into it today.
Yeah, because there's actually science behind, there's power behind a consistent bedtime routine. And I think the sleep nerd in me, I want to talk really quickly about a great, very easy breezy study that was done that shows the impact that just having a bedtime routine consistently has on a baby and toddler's sleep. And we'll pop this in the show notes and it's an easy read. But essentially, 405 mothers and their infants and toddlers aged between 7 and 18 months participated in two age specific 3 week studies. And in the first week, the mothers and babies just were instructed to do their normal bedtime routine that they've been doing all along. And then they were broken down into two groups. The control group said, carry on, keep doing what you're doing. And the other group were given a very specific set of bedtime instructions and routine. And then they discussed at the end their findings. And what it showed is that the bedtime routine group resulted in significant reductions in problematic sleep behaviors for infants and toddlers. Significant improvements were seen in latency to sleep onset, so that's the time it takes for a baby or toddler to fall asleep, and in the number and duration of night wakings. Sleep continuity increased, and there was a significant decrease in the number of mothers who rated their child's sleep as problematic. I love this next bit. Maternal mood state also
Okay.
significantly improved. And that is what we're here for. Mothers
Absolutely.
matter so much in
Yeah.
this. Um, so these results suggest that instituting a consistent nightly bedtime routine in and of itself is beneficial in improving multiple aspects of infant and toddler sleep, especially wakefulness after sleep onset and sleep continuity, as well as maternal mood. And what I love about that is there is no mention of sleep training techniques.
Mm.
There is no mention of methods or what to do when a baby wakes. We're not talking about any of that. There is power in the bedtime routine. So
Mm.
even if you never do any kind of sleep training, first of all, you may not have to. Maybe we implement a
Mm.
great bedtime routine
Yeah.
and all of a sudden so many other needs are met
Yeah.
and we nail the timing and things just naturally improve. But not only that, if you then go and do some sleep training, my goodness, has the stage been set because of this beautiful bedtime routine?
Yeah, and I think that the study also highlights that babies and children, like they are natural pattern seekers. Like we mentioned
Mm.
this in a lot of episodes, but just having the bedtime routine in a repetitive way and the improved sleep and whatnot that goes along with that. I mean, I don't know anyone who is like loves to fly blind. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
just feel like
so true.
so just having these sequences and the patterns available for baby to predict, I think truly makes a big difference. So
Yeah, and
loving
I
that.
think if we all looked at our own lives and the steps that we take before bed, even as
Mm.
grown-ups, we are all doing some semblance of a bedtime routine, whether it's a 12-step skincare
Yeah,
routine
like
that
my
I see on
12-year-old.
TikTok. Yeah, yeah, I bet. Can she show me the way? I have no idea
I
what
know.
I'm
I
doing.
keep asking if I could borrow her things, but you know.
No, I'm sure that is so uncool, Mum.
Yeah.
Um, but we're all doing something, whether it's wiping the benches, putting on our fresh jammies. Sometimes I do like a little cheeky turn down service and like make my bed look even more inviting,
With the
dim the
chocolate
lights.
as well, or
Oh, that would really elevate it. Um, research shows that improves maternal
Yeah.
mood, the chocolate on the pillow.
Only if
But
Mr. Sleep Concierge is doing that, then that
oh,
would
that's
improve
true.
your mood because the chocolate comes from somebody else. But
Absolutely. Take note, Mr. Sleep Concierge, who is producing this podcast. But we're all doing a series of steps to prepare ourselves and to signal
mm,
to our brain that, hey, it's time to get ready for sleep. And
yeah.
I mean, some exhausted parents would be falling asleep the moment their head hits the pillow.
Mm,
But we also do all have a sleep latency phase. Like it takes us a little bit of time to fall asleep, and all of
yeah.
the things leading up can help with that and set us up for having a great night as grown-ups. So let's talk about our bedtime routine that you and I love to provide families with, because it's not just about do a book, do a bath, do a bottle, and set up
And
that
try and
pattern
fit it all in. Yeah.
and try and fit it all in. Let's break it down a little bit,
Mm,
and we'll definitely throw some numbers out there so that it makes a little bit of chronological sense as we go along. But let's talk about sleep pressure and why that
mm.
matters as we're leading into bedtime.
So sleep pressure is really crucial in order to have a successful bedtime and then for the remainder of the night to be as smooth as possible. So sleep pressure is when our drive to sleep hits the moment, like the sweet spot, I like to call it, where
Mm.
our little ones are well rested, they're tired enough to want to fall asleep, they're not overtired, they're not undertired. And it's so important to get the sweet spot because you don't want to have a battle on your hands. So undertired little ones are going to protest and carry on because they're not tired enough, which
Hmm.
sort of looks exactly the same as an overtired little one who is wired and has their second wind and is refusing and resisting sleep as well. So the two look very similar. So we want to make sure that we're getting the sweet spot, tired and ready for sleep. So when we have the sweet spot of being nice and tired, we also want that to coincide with our internal clock or the circadian rhythm. So we try and set up, you and I are very big on setting up our days with
Hmm.
our morning milk feeds, all milk feeds, all solids, all naps to be roughly the same time each day. And we do this because we're setting the circadian rhythm or the internal clock to wire in to certain things happening at certain times so that hormones can be released in expectation. So if we're having a regular bedtime that is landing at the same time that our sleep pressure is at the sweet spot, it can really help our little ones to be able to fall asleep readily and easily. So we're optimizing our little ones' sleep potential by getting these two nicely aligned. So when our little ones are moving into their bedtime, we want the hormone of melatonin to be released, which is the sleepy hormone. So when our little ones have a hormone release, like melatonin release, they're going to feel tired and sleepy and ready for sleep. And then that will coincide with being ready and the sleep drive and sleep pressure. So in order to achieve that, we try and work with, let's just say, most of our bedtime routines are going to be about a 2 hour window from the end of the last nap to bed. And I
Hmm.
try and give little half-hour windows of time for each things. So the first session, the first half-hour block. So let's just say, should we just say 5 o'clock, Sally? What do you think?
Yeah. Let's put some numbers out there. I usually tell families that I start the quote unquote bedtime routine from roughly 5 p.m. I mean, this is going to fluctuate. This is usually based off a 7 p.m. bed. There's always going to be some wriggle room for babies that are going to bed at 7:30 or what time their nap finishes. But for the sake of this podcast, I would usually say we're going to start a bedtime routine from dinner solids, if applicable, which is I usually pop in at 5 on average. So yeah, let's throw some
Mm.
numbers out there. 5 p.m.
So from the outside, it looks like we're just popping dinner into the mix. And
Mm.
yes, it's true. We definitely need to feed our little ones, and we need to make sure that
Yep.
they've got really great calories in their, under their belt before they go off to bed. But the reason we actually put the dinner straight after the last nap is because we need to create a window of time for them to have their dinner and then allow an appetite to be created in order to have their final feed before bed. So we
Mm.
need to create a really good gap the other reason why we have dinner straight off the bat is because there is going to be a natural sugar spike. So most commonly we're going to, for little ones that are youngish, we're going to try and encourage families to sort of do more of a carb-based evening meal to begin with. And there's more of a natural sugar spike that happens usually within the first hour of eating. So the reason why we put dinner right at the beginning of the bedtime routine is for that natural sugar spike to occur, which coincides with when we would usually be having like our rough and tumble,
Yeah,
getting the
getting the
energy
wriggles
out.
out, some
Yeah,
sensory
exactly.
play. Yeah.
Yeah, because the one thing you don't, well, what we're trying to avoid is that natural sugar spike happening just as we're trying to put our little ones to bed.
Mm.
So there is a careful balance there. The other reason, of course, like I just touched on before, is creating an appetite for the milk feed, because we want to make sure that final milk feed is an excellent milk feed so that you
Mm.
feel like you've really tanked baby up and they're going down with really nice full tummies. So there's a method to the madness in
It's kind of
having that
a
feed plan.
dance, isn't it?
Mm,
Between we have to make space for all of these elements. And this is, again, what it means to look at baby sleep holistically because dinner solids are important. The milk feed is still important.
mm.
Bath time is important. Filling up a baby's little emotional well-being tank with play and connection before a moment of separation, which every sleep is a moment of separation. It's about how do we make space, and particularly with appetite, how do we keep appetite for all of these important factors? And that's why we like to structure it the way that we do.
Yeah. And then I think what will happen is once you've done your solids, I think that's a really great moment in time to have your bath. So
Mm.
the bath isn't designed for a nice, relaxing, sleepy kind of,
Not for
melty
my
moment.
children.
Not at all. You are getting the gunk off them from your dinner. You
Yep.
are, you're creating this really fun time for them. You don't have to worry about it being low stim. It's not designed to be that way.
And you
You
don't
want
have to
to,
rush through it like quick, have a
no.
quick wash straight into bed. You have
Mm,
30
you've got
minutes
you've got 30 minutes.
to splash
Yeah,
around,
yeah,
soak, play.
yeah. And one sort of tip too, I've noticed, over my time doing this is that you do need to make the bath water warm enough to sustain a good sort of amount of time in there. So obviously it's not going to be hot enough to scald or burn or anything like that. But if your little one is wanting to get out, so like straight away, try and sort of just do a little temperature check and just make sure it's not
Mm.
too cold. But I feel like you can get a good 15 minutes or so for most little ones if they're willing and whatnot, maybe even longer. I used to try and drag it out for as long as possible with my three kids.
Oh, I'd
Um,
have a struggle getting mine out.
yes, I know. They're really into it. I think it's just a great moment in time just to sort of sit and relax and enjoy time with them. But yeah, they can be
Mm.
splashing around and doing all the things. But it is creating that gap so that then once your little one is out of the bath, then we can get more into gym jams and playtime.
Absolutely. The other tip that I used to do, particularly in the Melbourne winter months, was I would have put my baby's towel in the dryer. It
Oh,
was easier when I had, European laundry and it was all in the one room next to the shower and the bath. But yeah, I used to put their towel in the
oh,
dryer so that when I took them out of the bath, they went straight into a cozy,
oh my God, that's so
snuggly.
lovely. That's
Well,
so
because
lovely.
often because they'd hate to get out of the bath and then there'd be tears. And then, of course, it's
Yep.
chilly and it was like a cold towel. So I used to fluff it up and warm it up in the dryer.
Oh, how amazing. Can I be part
I
of
know,
your
add
family?
that to the
So
list
lovely.
of
Yeah.
Mr. Sleep Concierge. He can warm
It's
my
like a
towel for
hotel
me.
at your house with the turn down service and hot fluffy towels.
Just wait for the pillow menu.
Once we have done the bath, we've got them into their gym jams. This is your opportunity now to really get some of the last of the sillies out. So there's a little, as we were sort of speaking about, there is a natural sugar spike that occurs. So our little ones don't need to be wound down. In fact, we really truly believe, don't we, Sally, that we need to wind them up at this point.
Absolutely. Get those wriggles out. I also find a lot of babies, and if anyone's listening and you are an OT that works with babies that love some sensory input, this is something I love to factor into the bedtime routine because I think before we go into this really quiet, low stimulation, a lot of babies need some vestibular input, some sensory play, as you said, some rough and tumble. And there are some great exercises and activities, even for babies, that sort of meet that need whilst also not being
Mm.
dangerous. Like we don't need to WWE wrestle, although lots of toddlers love
Yeah.
that. But it's such an important way to help bodies get ready, bodies and brains get ready to wind down. So I always
Mm.
incorporate some of that as well, particularly if a family comes to me and says, we really need to like hurl ourselves around in our
Mm.
family. I'm like, great, this is the time when you can factor it in, but also you can make it child led. So we're meeting, I mean, that's more so for toddlers, but phones down, screens off, play.
Yeah.
Connect, soak each other up, be silly.
Mm.
Maybe the other parent is just coming home, get everyone involved. That's a time.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I even say, if you've got a toddler in tow as well, that's when you go for a scooter ride, or that's when you
Yeah.
go outside and your little one crawls through the grass. I
Yeah.
don't know, something to just get out and change of scenery.
And it's great for dads or, the working parent to come home and feel like they can be energetic and enjoy cuddles and throw them around and do all the things because quite
Mm.
often when you're coming home, later of an evening, then you feel like you're just sort of you need to be really mindful of taking it sort
Oh,
of
if
easy
Mr.
and so
Sleep
forth.
Concierge historically has come home at 7, I'm like, no, you can wait until 7:30.
Oh, yeah.
That's gonna come in at the wrong time because I have just done
Yeah.
all this. I've got everyone to that elusive sweet spot. Do not mess
Yeah.
this up for me.
Yes, that's right. So if the other parent is home and they haven't seen little ones all day, then this is a great opportunity for them
Mm.
to be involved and they do all this sort of, the playtime and whatnot. But definitely spend some time on it and you can do, rolling on the rug. You can do
Mm.
just fun play on the couch and, upside
Scarves on their
downs.
face, peekaboo.
Yes.
Mm.
Older
Upside
children,
downs. Yep.
give some racing around the house. Like, I'm going to catch you. Go and, grab that book from down the other end of the house. It's really where you out. Um,
Yep.
so really important to do that. I just find it changes everything because if you're
Mm.
wearing remember they've just had a nap as well. So they've just had
Mm.
a nap, then they've had their natural sugar spike come from dinner. So we want to wear them out as much
Yep.
as possible. So now we've worn them out. We've done our little half-hour sesh
I sleep
of,
better after I've exercised during the day.
oh,
It all
100%.
makes sense.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to pop the feed in at this time. So
Mm.
the final milk feed, so around that 6:30 mark, we're going to space it half an hour before baby's expected in bed. We do this for a couple of reasons. So we do the feed out in the lounge room half an hour beforehand to allow enough time for the feed to be completed
Mm-hmm.
without obviously our little ones falling asleep. We want them to remain awake the entire feed. So just point to note. Um, but we also want to create a gap so they're not associating this with the art of falling asleep. So they're not
Mm-hmm.
feeling super drowsy in the bedroom and then for the last part is actually doing that falling asleep. So definitely final feed half an hour beforehand, complete the feed, and then we're going to rock and roll into the next part.
Yeah, and so then it's about going into the dark room, and we usually do this about 15 minutes before actually into cot bedtime to either self-settle or when you would start your sleep association or assistance, like rocking your baby all the way to sleep, because we want to give your baby's melatonin production system time to start releasing so that by the time they do hit the mattress, everything is primed and pumping and working in your favor. All of
Mm,
this is so that we can also minimize tears, which
mm.
is understandably something that parents are always trying to
Yeah.
navigate with any kind of bedtime. So we go into the dark room. That's when we're going to do sleeping bag on. We're going to schedule in the book, or maybe sing a song. The white noise goes white noise goes on, all of these things that are then the unassisted sleep associations that are really going to signal to your baby, now it's time to get ready for sleep. We've done all that fun. We've got a
Mm.
full tummy. You've had a good burp. We're going to lean in now and I'm going to help you. And we've got time together to adjust.
Yeah, so the one thing that I would add in before, and this is just applicable for those older children that have got or babies that have got teeth, is that you would
Oh,
just
yes, good
do
point.
you would brush little one's teeth
Mm,
before you go into their bedroom to start this next process. And the reason we do that is because we don't want any milk layering on their nice little brand new teeth as they're falling asleep. So we want to
mm,
make sure we're brushing teeth. And like you said, like we are like even though it looks like we're just incorporating books because books is a really important part of bedtime and children and all those things, the real reason behind that is to create that gap between the end of the feed and baby going into the cot and to allow that touch and connection time. So we are filling up
mm,
that love tank again and also creating that moment in time for the sleep pressure. So we've got that 15-minute window, that sleep pressure to align with the bedtime of the internal clock. So we're
mm.
really working hard. There's so many elements to our bedtime routine, and we want them all to align so it makes it easier for you as a parent to be able to put your little one down and easier for baby to be able to want to fall asleep readily and easily. So the bedtime routine does a lot of the what you would refer to, Sally, as the heavy lifting
I
for
do say
us.
that a lot. Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those things that is simple enough to implement, and that will make a big positive change in your little one's ability to want to be ready to fall asleep.
Yeah. So I guess if I just list it out, and again, we'll pop it in the show notes, but this
Mm,
routine looks roughly like 5 p.m. dinner solids, 5:30 p.m. bath, 6 p.m. mat time, rough house, scooter ride, whatever it is, get all the ants in the pants out. 6:30 p.m., you're going to do your final milk feed, breast or bottle, out in the lounge. So we really separate away from a feed to sleep association. Then go and do teeth. And I'll even add in, if you've got a toddler, my parents used to always say teeth wheeze bed. So we're going to do final wheeze as well. And then you're heading into the dark room for the sleeping bag, the white noise, a book, and have that moment of connection. And I, say hold them as their eyes adjust to the dark. You
mm,
don't ever have to be aloof or a stranger in any of this process of getting baby sleep. And then 7 p.m. into cot to self settle off to sleep, or you start assisting your baby off to sleep, whatever
mm,
is the go in your family. I think what I also love about a bedtime routine, and maybe this is just the mother in me, is
mm,
that come the end of the day, when I have made so many decisions and I have
mm.
kept everyone on track and I have helped
Yeah.
regulate everyone's emotions, I have warmed the towels. Sometimes I just like to know the steps.
Yeah.
Like, it takes the
It's the
guesswork out for me.
autopilot.
It's the
Yeah.
autopilot. So it's
Mm,
autopilot for them. Nothing is coming as a shock. And look, it
yeah.
doesn't have to be militant and precision, not 501,
Yeah.
oops, we're a
It's the
minute late on dinner.
sequencing.
It's the
Yeah.
sequencing. And there are going to be nights where that goes out the window. You've gone for
Mm,
family dinner. You
yeah.
stayed longer at the park. Cool. That's life. That's fun.
Mm,
But what it gives me, and I do a lot of bedtimes on my own, is a sequence of events where I don't have to make it up and I don't have to fill in time when I've probably run out
yes.
a bit of
Yeah.
steam.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I am obsessed and adore my children and I love bedtime.
Yes.
So that I can
Exactly.
have a moment and recharge, be me, be a wife, be a friend, be
Mm,
quiet,
yeah.
and get ready to do it all again. So, knowing the steps and knowing the time that it's broken down to, I can just move through this sequence of events and roll into bedtime knowing I've met their needs beautifully and it's bedtime now. And I didn't
Yeah.
have
I
to really
used
make many
to.
decisions.
No, and it seems to flow because everyone knows the
Mm.
drill. Everyone is
Yeah.
on board. Um, I used to call it the 5 o'clock shuffle. So I and
Yeah.
and I will say this actually to even, for little ones, 0 to 4 months, and I will say to my families of little ones who this bedtime routine is not necessarily for them. Like it's, you may be aiming towards it, but 0 to 4 months, you can have the day that goes tits up and still
Mm.
get to bedtime and feel like you've got it all together because you've got a sequence of events that you're now following. So I always just say, just limp your way to bedtime and then,
Yep.
do these final things in the same
You put a
sequence and your
line
little one
through the
should know.
day.
Yeah, that's right. And then
Mm.
and then you get back on the wagon, tomorrow. But yeah, definitely with the 5 o'clock shuffle, I felt like, okay, we're on the home straight to bed. I'm exactly like you, Sally. I love my children more than life itself,
Mm.
but I do love bedtime. I
Yeah.
love it. And and it's just no, like it's being able to take a breath. It's about being able to have a moment to yourself, not being touched, not being asked a million questions. Can I have this
Mm.
snack? Can I have having some downtime with your partner, having a
Mm.
hot meal together, having a glass of wine, watching your show. Like,
Oh,
let's get
yeah, turn
lit.
on
Like, let's
suits.
watch.
Let's get
Yes.
lit. Listening to
um,
your favorite baby sleep podcast. That's what we should
yes. Oh
really
my
be plugging.
goodness. Yeah, that's what we should be saying. But I just feel like bedtime is something that you should protect at all
Mm.
costs. I'm a big believer in if bedtime's starting to go south, we need to start looking at it because every parent deserves a bit of downtime to themselves.
Mhm.
That's my take.
And the science backs it up.
It
So,
does.
and just touching on the 0 to 4 months, I think it's a really good point that this exact breakdown and go-to
Mm.
schedule isn't applicable. But what you can do, particularly if you on the parenting spectrum, you sit more in a bit more like you and me, Beck, a little bit more type A, where we
Mm.
we really like to know what's coming next in a postpartum stage where a baby just marches to the beat of their own drum. But you can, in fact, create these micro rituals from day one, if you
Yeah.
so desire. It's about doing a bath, even if it's not every night. Maybe bedtime's at 9:30 p.m. in those early weeks, but it's about doing bath. It's about doing the final feed. It's about swaddling. It's about dimming the lights. It's
Mm.
I remember when P was teeny tiny, little love
Mm.
to dream swaddle. We used to read her Harry Potter. Like she's
Yeah.
not taking that on board. But it was just this moment of connection, and we still read, and we it just you can start it from the early
Yeah.
days. Equally, if you're like, we're just trying to survive, as your baby gets older, pick a night and start adding it in. Even
Mm.
if you don't do nothing else, it will help the evening flow better, and it has been proven to help sleep issues in general improve.
Absolutely. So I feel like if you've learned a little bit about your bedtime routine, if there's moments that you can improve, like during your
Mm.
bedtime routine, I think that you should have a good crack at implementing some of the strategies we've outlined.
Absolutely. And sorry, I've got one more thing that just came to me is that, and maybe again, this is just because I don't like feeling rushed. I feel like this sort of staggered breakdown means that a lot of babies and toddlers do not like being rushed. So if it's a bit like,
Mm.
quick into the bath, quick get out, why haven't you put your jammies on? Quick, where's the pacifier? Pass me
Mm.
all these things. By the time you pop them in the crib, everyone's sort of heightened and
Yeah.
escalated. And we all have nights where, like, absolutely, it's
Mm.
like, quick, get through this as fast as we can. But what this does is nobody is feeling rushed, parents and baby alike, so that come bedtime, and if there are tears or you are doing some sleep training, again, you can feel really confident. It's not because I've missed a fundamental need. This is because maybe they're very tired or we're trying something new, and you
Yeah.
can be confident in your ability to settle or resettle without feeling like you've just hurled them into the cot.
Mm. I agree. Very good.
No hurling here.
Oh, we don't want to gently place your little one into the cot
Onto their
lovingly.
back. Absolutely. All right. Well, that is the science of the bedtime routine. And
Yep.
it's something that if you work with either Beck or I, you'll hear us go on and on about it because it's so powerful and we love ritual. But let us know in the comments what your bedtime routine looks like. Everyone's going to do something a little bit different.
Yep.
And we love the community input.
Yes. Make sure you give us a share, follow us on all the platforms, mention us to your friends, all your
Yeah, share
neighbours.
this with someone who might need some help constructing a bedtime routine and not know where to start.
Yeah, absolutely. We love hearing your feedback. Make sure you comment in the sections for us.
Excellent. All right. We will see you on the next episode of Nap Chat. Bye.
Bye.